You don't forget the first time you feel watched by something that isn't there. When I accepted the night shift security position at the Royal Athenaeum Library in central London, I thought I'd finally caught a break. After months of unemployment and bouncing between friends' couches, a quiet overnight job in a centuries-old building sounded like salvation. The pay was better than minimum wage, the hours suited my sleep schedule, and the only real responsibility was walking through the building every hour to make sure no rare books had been disturbed. The Athenaeum, as it's known by the few who still remember its name, isn't like other libraries. Built in 1688 by Sir Edward Felstone, a wealthy nobleman and supposed occult enthusiast, the library was meant to be a sanctuary for knowledge no other institution dared to house. Felstone had a fascination with ancient civilizations, alchemy, demonology, and anything deemed forbidden by the church or monarchy. According to the sparse documentation that survived, he imported books from every corner of the known world, some rumored to be bound in skin, others written in languages that predated written history. Today, most people walk past the place without a second glance. Tucked between a chip tea shop and a law firm, the stone facade is gray with grime and soot. The iron gates are black and twisted, cold to the touch even in summer. Inside, though, it's a sprawling maze, 3 main floors of shelves, spiraling staircases, private reading chambers, archives below, and a 3rd floor restricted section closed to the public. During training, the head librarian, Mrs. Whitcomb, gave me a stern warning: don't enter the restricted section, under any circumstances. Even if you hear something. I thought she was just overly dramatic. That was before the noises began. The first time I heard it was on my 3rd night. It was just past 2 in the morning. I'd finished my round and was lingering in the poetry aisle, admiring an old 1st edition Byron. That's when I heard it. A voice, not the rustling of pages or the shifting of air. A voice, low, breathy, just past the Gothic literature shelf. At first, I thought someone had gotten locked in. I followed the sound, turning the corner, nothing. The whisper stopped the moment I stepped into the aisle. A cold draft brushed the back of my neck. I turned. No open windows. No vents. Just rows of old books staring back at me. I radioed it in. Dave, the daytime security lead, chuckled and said, "Hearing voices already? That place has that effect. You'll get used to it." But I didn't get used to it. Each night, the voices got louder. Always just out of reach, always just around a corner. The basement was worse. To reach the archives, you had to unlock a narrow spiral staircase hidden behind a wall panel in the map room. The key was old and stiff, and the stairwell descended far deeper than I thought it would, stone walls that narrowed as you went, the light from my flashlight swallowed by the dark. The first time I descended, I felt a strange pressure in my chest, like something heavy pushing against my lungs. About halfway down, I swore I saw something dart across the floor, a fast, dark blur that disappeared behind a cabinet. When I reached the bottom, I found rows of metal drawers, stacked floor to ceiling. The air was damp, thick with mold and something else, something faintly metallic, like dried blood. And then I saw the door. It was different from everything else, old, wooden, framed in bronze with no handle. Just a tarnished plate that read, Obscurus Libris, Custodes Mortuus. As I stood staring, the temperature dropped. The hairs on my arms rose. And then I heard a sound from behind the door. Not voices this time, pages turning, thousands of them. I backed away and fled up the stairs. On my nights off, I researched the library's history. Sir Edward Felstone was real, yes. But records about him were strange, erratic, even. He'd vanished in 1702, reportedly last seen entering the lower archives during one of his private reading sessions. His personal journal was never found, but several letters from his servants remain, one of which ended with the sentence, "He went into the vault and never came back." Local legends tell darker tales. That fell stone wasn't just reading forbidden books, he was trying to summon something. An entity he called the Dweller between pages. There were reports of disappearances dating back centuries. A young boy went missing during a 1789 school tour. In 1897, a visiting scholar studying Akkadian texts went mad after spending a night in the archives, scribbling notes about voices in the bindings before clawing out his own eyes. During the Blitz in World War II, the building took a direct hit from a bomb. The top floors burned. Yet, miraculously, the restricted section was untouched. Firefighters claimed the flames stopped just shy of the velvet rope. It didn't make sense. On my 6th night, I saw her. I was inspecting the upper balcony when I noticed a flash of red between the bookshelves. I stepped closer and saw her clearly, a woman in a deep crimson Victorian dress, her skin pale as bone, her black hair falling in waves across her back. She was facing away, unmoving. I called out. She didn't react. Then she turned. Her eyes were empty. Not just white, empty. Hollow sockets. And as soon as our eyes met, she vanished. Not fled. Not turned. Just gone. I reviewed the security footage, no one was there. But at 3:04 a.m., the cameras glitched out for exactly 17 seconds. When the feed returned, the emergency exit door in the back hallway opened and closed on its own. When I brought it up, Mrs. Whitcomb pulled me aside and asked, "Did she wear red?" I nodded. She sighed. "That's Lady Isabel Fellstone, Sir Edward's wife. They say she still wanders, looking for him. But don't ever follow her. She doesn't lead you to her husband. She leads you to it." I asked what it was. She wouldn't answer. By the 7th night, I could barely think straight. The whispering didn't stop when I left the library anymore. I began hearing it at home. I started waking up with nosebleeds. My hands would tremble when I got near certain shelves. Once, I found a book open on the main desk, one I knew I hadn't touched. It was Sir Edward's personal diary. Or rather, a copy of it. The final entry read, "The Dweller offers eternity in exchange for blood, ink, and breath. The vault has opened, I am ready to pay." That night, I did what I swore I wouldn't. I crossed the velvet rope. The restricted section was colder than the rest of the library. The shelves loomed over me like watchers. The air buzzed with static. Every book felt alive, some pulsed under my touch, others whispered in tongues I couldn't understand. In the center of the aisle, beneath a faded oil painting of Sir Edward, sat a pedestal. Upon it, a single book lay open. The pages moved on their own, gently flipping. I leaned in. The text was shifting, bleeding ink, forming new letters as I watched. Then I heard it again, "You shouldn't be here." I turned, no one. But a figure stood between the shelves, tall and narrow. Its face was covered in black paper, and its limbs unfolded like broken marionette strings. I ran, and tried to quit the next day. Mrs. Whitcomb didn't laugh. She simply said, You were chosen the moment you entered the basement. I packed my things anyway. That night, the dreams began. I saw the Red Lady dancing in fire. I saw Sir Edward nailed to a chair, whispering spells in a dead language. I saw the vault beneath the library, opening wider each night. And I saw the Codex Tenebris, the Book of Shadows. I couldn't stay away. On my final night, I returned. Down the spiral stairs. Past the archives, back to the vault door. It was open. Inside, the chamber was vast, far bigger than the basement should allow. The walls were lined with shelves made of twisted bone. Candles floated in midair, and in the center of the room sat the codex. Its cover was pale, flesh-like. A single, black eye blinked from its center. I poured lighter fluid on it and lit a match. Nothing. The flames curled back, recoiling as if frightened. The pages flipped open and the screams began, dozens, hundreds, thousands of voices, all crying from inside. Then the thing appeared. 7 feet tall, wrapped in scrolls. Its face was a mask of torn parchment. Ink dripped from its eyes like tears. "Read," it commanded. I refused. So it reached for me. I don't remember how I escaped. I woke up outside the gates, my body aching, my fingernails blackened. The library was dark, sealed. I thought it was over. But the whispers followed me. At night, I see shadows moving in my shelves. Books open by themselves. I've stopped reading. I've stopped writing. Because every time I do, the ink moves on its own. And sometimes, in the quiet moments, I feel breath on my neck. If you ever find yourself on Holborn Street and pass an old gate with an owl-shaped crest, keep walking.
But if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head, under my bed. Think you're something